We have to wonder if this will go down the same way as it did in our last Clan Blitz match that we had. Will we see like one very strong 0 to 100 push, or will it end up being a longer set?
I feel like just by the nature of Clan Blitz, it could find itself going either way, depending on how well organized both the teams are. But as far as the map is concerned, I feel like Albacore, it presents itself more to that slow burn kind of a map with Clan Blitz.
Now, personally, I'm a little more familiar with the players on Cut the Grass, and I know that they're actually very aggressive players. So I'm curious how that'll work out, if they'll try and like go for something right away. I know both Raptura and Umber do often play. Like Raptura is probably going to pull out that very lovely Kenson machine, very nice. And we'll see what he does.
We're loading right into it now, so let's get into our game one, see what teams lead off with what, and how this sets the tone for our set.
There's that machine.
Ooh.
Love the soda slosher.
That'll be fun. Figure out how that could help with any more aggro pushes.
Looking at it, you can see actually that the AL Fan Club does have a lot more bombs, so they might be looking to actually do a nice little fight here.
Yeah, AL Fan Club actually is a really impressive backline. Like, I could see them try to hold this as a more defensive-oriented game if they manage their lead, but managing that lead might be a bit of a tough task to ask for.
They both actually lost their snipes right away. Whoop actually being the last one, I believe, that hasn't died yet.
And like you even brought up during our pregame, the idea that like range is going to be really important. So the fact that both teams are aware of that notion and they're just going to pick the range before it becomes a problem is going to make for very unique firefights.
Like actually on AL Fan Club, they have the shortest range player in their junior, I believe. As you can see, Cut the Grass doesn't have any player lower range than the machine.
Unfortunately for Cut the Grass, they got their initial rush with Raptura, who protected themselves well with the bubbles, but no follow-up press is going to invite pretty strong counter-offensive potential from AL Fan Club. If they can get past these bridges, these gridded bridges are so important to defend because if your team can't, like your team really needs an organized push to make something of that, especially if you want to defend your power plant.
All right, we see he's trying to run away. Can Xylard escape? It looks like they did. And Xylard really did want to push forward. You saw when they popped that ink armor earlier in the match, they were hoping to throw their 2 bombs, throw their armor, and then be able to push in. But now they're just kind of stuck with this clam, and with their low range, they can't really walk away right now.
Yeah, this is a really difficult position for Xylard to be in. Although, wise on them for being able to just make that call where it's like, all right, I got to fall back deep, let my team cover for me. We'll reorganize ourselves once we got everyone up. But that's valuable time that Cut the Grass is using to press more offensively because they've got their picks. They're moving on through in general, but they don't have any really clams to make this a good push.
Whoop trying to shut them down with those bubbles really did help keep AL Fan Club from pushing up at that moment. Or, sorry, help them keep the other team from pushing up at that moment, exactly.
Right.
And they are trying to pull out these clams. With 17, they can make a good push as long as they can sneak in. You'll notice that Xylard is always throwing that double bomb to be able to try and open up a push for them.
So the position, open the net.
Nice.
See them do it, and all right, Whoop's coming in with the clams.
Whoop hiding in those bubbles with the 9 clams, trying to get as many points as possible. Look at that, 27 points. It actually is stronger for the people at home that don't know to actually have 9 clams and put them all in one by one. Ooh, that big clam!
That was a very good push from them, although it looks like Cut the Grass going to be cleaning themselves up pretty well. Only Taco staying in there, but staying alive, just press on back, clean up some of that green ink.
Seeing C-Slug, be careful. Ooh.
Get him out of there. Are we going to see another? Yes, we are. We're going to see one more. Let me get the triple. Come on, give it to the folks at home. Just like that. Josh with a great push, not done yet. Opening the gates for AL Fan Club to come on in. That's one. Got rid of the penalty, but it's still like a big push ahead of them, and everyone from AL Fan Club got cleaned up. Cut the Grass knowing that they have to stay well in defensive before they have their resources together.
They did wipe AL Fan Club, though, which does give them a little time to be able to get some clams. They're going to probably hold off on grabbing that clam back at base for a little bit. They definitely don't want to be seen, especially with Josh's very good aim. I wouldn't want to walk around with that big clam in tow knowing Josh is right there, getting that pick on C-Slug.
A lot of these quick steps coming out from Josh are super important picks because, like, you see how mobile he is. Like, Josh is doing such a good job of just denying clams, and that's one thing I wanted to bring up is that AL Fan Club's just been doing a really good job of making sure they're the ones who are in control of the clams.
If you don't let them have the clams, there's nothing you can do to push.
Speaking of, is Whoop going to get this push forward? Bubbles protecting them, but not enough.
But Taco might grab that clam and put it in. Yup.
Had to throw away their own clams just to get the pop, but Once again, not a well-organized push. Cut the Grass doing a very good job of making sure they could deny multiple squids slipping through the defenses.
But even if their pushes aren't always the most organized, you have to say that AL Fanclub does have, you know, much more points on the board. By opening that basket over and over again, even if they're not winning the game right away, they're burning time that, honestly, that Cut the Grass needs to be able to make that push.
Yeah, like this war of attrition has just been a world of good for AL Fanclub, because even though they're pressing forward constantly and the past few pushes haven't been the best for them, they have a substantial lead. As long as they keep on forcing Cut the Grass to play defensively, they don't have to worry about a counter push.
With only 2 up on both sides, that's going to,
Ooh, 2 right off the bat, and just like that, game 1 going in favor of AL Fanclub.
That is pretty nice, though. We'll have to see what keeps happening as we actually do have other games to do. We're going to move on to Splat Zone's The Reef.
Oh, this is a vintage combination. All right. As far as the defensive play is concerned, I feel like if Cut the Grass manages a lead of any sort, they can hold this map really well. And I think AL Fanclub needs to be a bit worried about that.
Honestly, the only, like, they had that one very strong push, AL Fanclub, which put them in those 20s. But as you said before, otherwise, most of their pushes were only about, like, 1 clam, or maybe, like, 1 clam and a few clams.
Right, right.
So it's going to really be, can AL Fanclub move back into a more paint-oriented, zone-holding plan? Because if they try to push in the same way they were on this map, it might not end up working out too well for them.
Yeah, Reef is a lot more important focus towards the ink. It's almost like you're moving from one end of the spectrum to the complete other here. So while positioning still going to be important, organization with your team still going to be important, I feel like there's more of a focus now for make sure that you have your ink for your team and, of course, yourself. Keep those specials at the ready as well.
Absolutely. It's all about holding that bridge, too. So important to make sure you're not, like, losing that bridge out. I feel like we do have our sniping friend on AL Fanclub, I believe. I'm forgetting the name at the moment, but their snipe was really good, and if they can just stick around on bridge and keep them from getting across, that's going to be very good for them.
Yeah, and especially when you consider the mobility aspect as well. Like, if we see more of Josh with the splatter scope, just being able to like go from place to place, stay well defended, but just keep consistent picks, it's going to be really difficult for Cut the Grass to have any semblance of stage presence.
Absolutely, and I believe it was Whoop who was playing that squeezer last game with those bubbles too, right?
Yeah, that's going to be super important for making sure you can lock down both of the zones when it comes to the Reef.
I think people always remember when there used to be 2 zones on the Reef, but now there's only 1, correct? Is it, did they switch it? I always
thought
forget.
it was the other way around.
Okay, yeah. But either way, those bubbles are still super strong when it comes to holding the zones.
Yeah, because it either allows like a heavily defended point for like just moving on to the 1 if you need to break through the like the stalemate of one team holding one zone, another team holding the other, or because of the nature of that bridge, just throw it like over the bridge, defend both spots, sort of close it in, make sure you have one person to grab both of them. But we'll see how it goes.
AL Fanclub with actually a very paint-oriented team composition. Look at that.
What?
They got the Splash
Hello?
and the Junior.
Okay. All right, logic to the wayside. We just want a lot of ink on this board.
It works. And Whoop isn't afraid to push right in. Whoop said, I don't need those bubbles. I got a Splash.
Ooh, almost getting another pick, but super tough protecting that player of Cut the Grass. Look how aggressive this initial push is from AL Fanclub. They are breathing right down the necks of Cut the Grass.
Yeah, Cut the Grass pretty much has to be aggressive or they're not going to be able to push past that. Like, look at how Whoop just goes back, makes sure every little piece of the zone is theirs, and then just walks back in saying, hey, hey.
Oh, hold on. What's going to happen over here?
They're trying to get that pick because they want to hold that armor, but they can't get the armor in time. Poor Katonics will have to work on getting that armor again.
Trade for trade, but a complete wipe on AL Fanclub is going to give Cut the Grass the opportunity to fight on back. Decent amount of penalty on AL Fanclub's side, but nothing too crazy for them to work off, especially if they can manage to recreate that initial push.
I would say Cut the Grass has more range, though, so if they can keep AL Fanclub locked out, that'll be fine. But you can see AL Fanclub just coming right back in, wanting those zones, saying, hey, we let you have it for a little bit, but hi, I'm here with this baller.
And what a good press with the baller, too. Like, Missiles really not having a lot of effect here as they try to make a counteroffensive. Instead, AL Fanclub answering back. They're taking to the high ground, see what picks they can manage. This map is looking pretty perfect.
And Whoop and Takeo work so well as a strong offensive core. You saw them going for those pincers before on like single players just walking around.
Turn barely having any ground to stand on, forced to fall back.
Trying to throw bombs. It's so much better to drop a bomb than dropping in yourself on top of a hungry Splash-O-Matic, honestly.
Right.
getting a really important pick to bring it back to a 3-4 situation, but look at the baller fight on the zone.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Josh is going to have the last left, but not able to get this pick.
Hopefully they're able to jump out there, hiding behind that tree.
Yeah, no, this is a bloody battle right now. Look at this. Constant control of the zone, swapping from team to team. But once again, a total wipe on AL Fanclub's side. It seems like Cut the Grass is staying very mindful of where they need to be positioned and also focus their picks.
AL Fanclub does rush in pretty quickly, so when they do get wiped, it can be hard for them to move in.
Also, Vic, take note of all the point sensor usage that's on this map now. It's such a complete shift in focus as to what the teams want, because now Cut the Grass is just like, all right, as long as we know their locations, it doesn't matter how ridiculous these fights get. We know where we need to shoot.
Like, I would say AL Fanclub has these very strong pushes, but again, because they only have Josh as their only longer range player, when they get locked out, it's hard for them to come back in until they get that push. But look at this go. Look at them. They actually do have the clock ticking down in their favor for Cut the Grass here, which is what we didn't expect a little while ago. That's how strong their start wasn't.
Like, the bounce back in this play is immaculate. They are just going to barely be denied a lead, though.
Oh, and C-Slug has to back out here. If C-Slug rocks in with that bubble, they're going to get it, but oh!
Double pick. Oh, hold on now.
They have a lot of points to drive down, though, before they can get that lead again. Oh, nice stop on Josh. I don't think Josh saw that one come in at all.
No, not at all. That's brutal. Imagine Kensarola just popping right in front of you like that while you're trying to get some info for your team or pick off someone.
Yeah, I just took note. I've been talking about the ink armor on this H3, but they're the one throwing the point sensors. It's not the one with ink armor.
It's a really weird crush because, like, this particular loadout's giving, like, you and your team so much information for the enemy team. Like, you're always going to know where they are. You're always going to know what they're going to do, because if you see the enemy team, like, gathering in one area, you know they've got some sort of coordinated push, so you get your counteroffensive ready. Or if you know they're all split up, you know that someone's going to try and go for some sort of a flank, so you tell your team to spread out, minimize that damage. And time again, we're seeing once these firefights break out, it's Cut the Grass who's coming ahead.
And this game is brutal. They're just slowly trying to regain this lead. It's going to all be about, can they do it before AL Fanclub has another strong push? Like, it takes a little while for them to earn their pushback, but they always end up getting the zone when they do. So AL Fanclub has to, like, pretty much not get killed, or not get stopped by them until they actually, like, have the time.
Right, and even while we're taking this bit of time to focus on Zyler, notice how they popped the super armor. Good call, but because they were painted with the point sensor, they had to fall back. They had to reorganize with the team. Otherwise, it would have just been a waste.
This is a good baller dropping in. It's going to break the armor of the other team. And Umber's going to have to try really hard to get a pick before he dies.
Oh, Umber crushed right against the wall. This is looking like it's AL Fanclub control.
Ooh.
Very, very barely, though.
You got to wonder, if they had gotten down to 15 instead of 17, would we have gone into a lengthy overtime?
It had the potential, but AL Fanclub tied up. That could have been a remarkable comeback for Cut the Grass. They're not out of it just yet.
Absolutely not. If you ask me, Cut the Grass really showed that they didn't want to be done yet, and they want to bring this to a Game 4.
Overall, clutch play from AL Fanclub kept them in the lead for that 2-0. Going to be moving forward into Rainmaker on Black Belly.
Like, you saw how close those KDs were. It's pretty surprising.
That was a neck-and-neck battle. Like, you really couldn't have that much closer of a battle unless we were down to, like, last points. But, like, you saw how often the momentum from map control was shifting, how often the map color itself, like, ink control was massive for how well Cut the Grass was able to consistently reset the map, or how well AL Fanclub was able to just come back and assert their dominance.
Like, you saw Zyler there. Zyler actually had 9 ink armors, which really helped AL Fanclub constantly be able to keep up that pressure. You saw, like, those armors would come out, for example, when they're, like, walking in to, like, stop them from dropping down. Like, Cut the Grass did a good job at being patient. Even if they couldn't get that game, they can be patient on this Rainmaker map here.
Right.
Like, Rainmaker Black Belly can be a really quick game. Like,
it could.
Like, Nintendo has tried their best to make sure it isn't a quick game.
Oh, they tried.
It is Black Belly Skate Park, which really just, it can be a straight shot.
Yeah.
It's going to be all about who gets that pop, who grabs that Rainmaker, and, like, what situation is ahead of them there. If the backline isn't in the right place, you could see, Cut the Grass just grab that Rainmaker and just try to make a run for it.
Right.
Like, having a really strong push at the start in a Rainmaker map like this can really give you a lot of confidence.
And it's one of those types of maps where, like, it invites players to be able to break away from their team, and if they get that lone wolf push where it's like there's just a bunch of ink all over the place already, that saves so much time for your team to be able to press even further. And on this kind of a map, you're just pressed so close to their spawn, like, the ability to lock down is nuts on Black Belly. But we got to see if it happens.
And there's two real like main paths you can go. Are they going to go to the right? Are they going to go to the left? You have to predict that when you're doing your thing. Josh coming out with a custom jet actually instead of a snipe.
All right, well, staying mobile, staying aggro with your range going to be important. I guess like a bit more of immediate. Okay, this answers why.
Wow. Wow.
That was maybe one of the fastest Stingrays I've ever seen.
That's what custom jet does though. Josh just wants Stingray. Josh is just like, hey, what if I just spam Ray the entire game instead of pushing up for now?
I can't even be mad. On this type of a map, that's great. Like, the space denial is really strong. Not only are you, like, denying the Rainmaker itself, but, like, you know you have to heavily focus, like, 2 points along the map.
Like, look at all the specials that keep coming out from AL Fanclub. They're just waiting for the opportunity. And this is their opportunity right now, actually.
They've got the initial push, and a strong one they do. 46.
You have to take note that it looks like Taco actually does have that Ninja Squid, which let Taco get in there so easily. Even if Taco didn't get the kills that they probably wanted, they really could do some damage in the future with that. Umber with the rain to try and keep them from pushing in. Oh. I bet you Umber thought that he wasn't going to die to that bomb.
Yeah, no, that was a really good throw from Zylo.
Ooh. Nice roller slap, stopping that Rainmaker, keeping them from being able to push.
A bit of an awkward, like, midpoint for the game right now, but it's kind of a good spot for AL Fanclub to be in, because if they can constantly force Cut the Grass to just be resetting the situation, they're just resetting with AL Fanclub in favor, but Whoop from behind, trying to clean up some of this ink, and even going to get a pick or two.
Can he get that roller, though?
Oh, he's going to dip. Smart play, though, because it's defending the bubbler, which can be even more important, especially if they need to get that pop in conjunction with Stingray.
Yeah, they don't want to forget about that Rainmaker because it still is in position. Like, if it's not defended, it's very easy for Cut the Grass just to walk in and be like, hey, that Rainmaker, ours now.
Speaking of Stingray, it's looking like it's going to get popped. Let's see what happens. 3 down already on Cut the Grass.
That's going to be points. Look at this bubble. These bubbles are placed so the Rainmaker can just run right through them. See if they can get to that podium right away. They would love to clean this out.
They tried so hard. AL Fanclub knows the pressure of the situation they're in right now. They really can't afford Cut the Grass to make this reversal because they know they're good enough to, but Whoop not getting the opportunity to hop on the podium.
You have to respect that bubble play, though. That was pretty nice. They're trying so hard not to let them pop this shield.
They're locked out literally outside the gates of their spawn. 3 points. This is a fantastic lead for AL Fanclub with 2.5 minutes left on the clock, and they're still playing aggro.
Raptura tried to make the sacrifice to pick up the Rainmaker, but it put them in a 2-down situation, which I don't know if that's going to help them out too much.
It even puts the Rainmaker in arguably worse position because now Cut the Grass has to, like, expose themselves so heavily just to be able to move the Rainmaker. But they got a couple of specials loaded out.
But the Ray is already ready from, again, from Josh.
Just the icon of the Rainmaker is just such a big tell for all of your specials to focus in on that target. It's so unfortunate considering how far back Cut the Grass is pressed. And they're going to stay pressed. Taco doing very good, moving yourselves forward.
Ooh, very
pick
nice.
After pick.
This is the thing, though. They can't take the Rainmaker out of their spawn, so they can't push the Rainmaker. They have 2 minutes to try and get the Rainmaker back on the other side. They pretty much need to get a knockout. It looks like the Rainmaker is finally going to reset, though, which is going to let them possibly leave their base.
Yeah, that's a huge breath of relief for Cut the Grass because they don't have to worry about moving the point all the way to mid. Like, they can actually fight from mid if they get their paint on.
Shout out to the missiles coming out from Katonix. Actually very useful, popping them even landing on the Rainmaker shield. The Bamboozler actually is one of the fastest Rainmaker popping weapons in the game.
Yeah, it's shredding along, and like, Katonix is doing good just to try and stay mobile. Now that they're allowed out of their base, like, Cut the Grass is able to make a push, but not a very strong push.
It was that bomb that took them down. They do have a lot of bombs on AL Fanclub, which really helps them out. People sometimes don't realize the importance of just throwing a couple of really good bombs. Like, getting those extra picks can really add up over the course of a game, as we've seen AL Fanclub do. Like, over the entire set, honestly, not even just this game.
Like, it's always appeared like they're throwing out shots or subs with reckless abandon, but it's just been working so well, either to deny space from someone being able to move into that position, or a lucky pick that's just helped them cement their pressure. This
rain is going to stop the Rainmaker from pushing in, but I think Zyler probably isn't afraid to run through it if they have to. Oh, look at them hiding.
Really good positioning.
Ooh.
Oh, this could be it. They've got their path. 2 down on Cut the Grass.
It might be up to Umber to try and stop it. No.
Oh, flying right up, but not going to be able to get it. Still at that 3-point turn.
And look, another Stingray actually popping out there.
Opting to fall back, sees that the pick is going to go in Cut the Grass' favor.
I expect him to throw a bomb. Yup, there's the bomb. Ooh, but Katonix lives. It's so important. They actually are 3 down at AL Fan Club right now. I think that...
Are we going to see the full reversal, though? They got a 4-squid push.
Look at how fast they're running. They're going to take it straight down that half pipe, probably.
They are zooming along, and they got some bubbles to defend themselves. Katonix going for a full charge, make sure no one's going to be in that flank. Opting for the high ground, too. Very smart positioning.
Oh, are we going to see them turn it around?
Oh,
they won that game 4.
Vic, is it happening?
It could happen. The missiles, though. No, Katonix is kind of stuck, though.
Oh, all the specials. Oh,
there's the
specials.
Ray. That's bad. That is bad. Unless Katonix can live. Dodging the Stingray? No.
All right.
Good try.
That was a really good push, but AL Fan Club locked it down for a solid 3-0 victory over Cut the Grass.
They just in the end were more aggressive, honestly.
Like they just kept a consistent drumbeat of pressure to prevent Cut the Grass from being able to really organize themselves. And even though towards the latter half of Game 3 we saw them be a bit more organized with their own specials, really good with their positioning, and we almost saw that overtime press go from complete 0 to 100.
Like, shout out to Sea Slug's Bubbles. They tried so hard to keep that Rainmaker alive, and they made it so far. They just couldn't get out of the half pipe with all the special pressure from AL Fan Club.
That's why Bubbles is one of my favorite specials in the game, because there's so much versatility to it. Like,